So I have got you with that title. That's right, I've been that guy. Very sorry. But it does tie into a debate that is now running rampant throughout the internet, and it is my job sometimes to witness this and come up here on camera and talk about it. And I think that's good. As long as we stay calm, we don't go crazy, we should always engage in the debate. But apparently this is WWE's biggest star that we shouldn't push. And why? Here's why. Because it was a stupid thing to even say. I don't think I've ever done that before. Jey Uso, though, he's one of my favourite wrestlers right now because not in a million years did I think he was going to break away from his brother Jimmy and become this awesome singles star. But that is one of the best things about the bloodline. They had multiple ideas that they wanted to achieve, and when it comes to Mr. J, they totally smashed it. Fans have recognised this too, because if you go on social media, you can see clips from wrestling shows and either other sports events when people are doing his entrance thing that I'm not going to try and do, and this isn't a fluke. You can't do this by accident. It's because Jey Uso has connected with the crowd, which, let's face it, is the special sauce when it comes to pro wrestling. That and ketchup. You even get some audiences now taking out their mobile phones and turning the light on, which is very similar to what they used to do to Bray Wyatt, which Jey Uso has come out and said has touched him in his tum-tum, and even Bray Wyatt's wife JoJo said the same thing. She sent Jey a text, because never forget, the best way to keep somebody's memory alive is to keep on talking about them. The problem is, as soon as anybody revels in this, another human being comes into the equation and goes, none of this matters, because when it comes to one-on-one action or when it comes to what he's doing in the ring, he is not a very good wrestler, and I don't like him at all, and therefore neither can you. Also, Jey is quite clearly a better tag wrestler than he is a singles wrestler, so I don't care about all this other stuff, and I ain't going to talk about it, which again is a little bit nuts, because as silly as it may sound, when it comes to pro wrestling, sometimes the least important part is the wrestling. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. Now, first and foremost, this is subjective. I mean, I can hold my hands up and say the WrestleMania 40 match against Jimmy Uso didn't live up to our expectations and what we hoped it would be, but other than that, I think Jey's been on a pretty good run. And no, he is not the greatest wrestler ever to step foot in a third circle, but this ties into what I just said. There are other attributes that come together so that when he is doing his thing with the action, I can still sit there and go, man, I'm having the best time. I mean, the industry is just bonkers, which is why if you do have a good entrance, you can become a super duper whooper star, especially when it comes to, here it comes, the casual fans, because you are flicking channels and all of a sudden you see this individual walk into the ring and you have thousands and thousands of people going crazy. Your brain will probably say, well, I should check out this person. He seems like he's a super cool dude. I mean, that does speak more to these kind of people than a 5-star match. And I know you're super duper mad at me. Don't worry, everybody else is mad at me too. My parents will ring me soon and say, Simon, we hate you. So I'm gonna get the hate. Everyone calm down. It's why another aspect does need to be brought up as well. And of course I would say this, but I do enjoy looking at the human side of sports entertainment. He just comes across as a really good guy. Whether in interviews or press conferences, he just has a way about him. And this does mean a lot to me in 2024, because nobody has to be nice, but there are plenty of celebrities that do come off as a little bit standoffish, and that will affect how you see them. Whereas Jey Uso, he's just so laid back. I'm gonna use that word that's gonna turn me into a massive nerd. He just feels cool, because I still feel like a kid. I'm like, man, I'd love to be his friend. I know, I'm just gonna leave. So what is the issue then? Well, amazingly, I think his nickname may have something to do with it. Because over the last year or so, Jey has taken on this main event moniker, and apparently some of us have taken it to heart. And once again, we can go back to last year's SummerSlam, when we did the tribal combat match. It was a little bit long, and maybe it didn't click in the way we were expecting, but that's okay. I just like the fact that we put somebody brand new in the SummerSlam main event to begin with. Mainly, I think this name was just a way to tell you in a nice, easy package, in case you are only a casual viewer, there's that word again. Oh, he's not with the bloodline anymore, and he's breaking out on his own. I don't know what I'm doing. It also sounds badass, which is important, and also, I'm not having this. He is not bad at his job. Again, just so you calm down in the comments, the match with Jimmy maybe wasn't what we expected, but I have seen him have bangers with the like of Ilya Dragunov and the likes of Gunther, and he just has a sympathetic way about him, which is what you need if you're going to be a top-tier babyface. And yeah, sure, of course he's better in a tag team with his sibling, but you want to know why this is? It's because they've been doing that for like 20 years, and he's only been a singles guy for like a year and a half. I mean, if you're going to make those two comparisons, the statistics are going to sneak in and kick your ass. It's also a completely different skill set. I mean, go and listen to somebody like FTR talk about this. They totally understand how tag team wrestling has to be approached. And no, it's It's not the same as other styles. We did just mention all those things that he did in the King of the Ring, or where he was going after the Intercontinental title. Plus, he has another plus, damn it, that you can pull out of your pocket. I really want to see him do well. Because over the years, there have been people that have been pushed and I didn't necessarily get it. And yet when it comes to Mr. Uso here, if he is in a match, I search my feelings. I'm like, man, I really hope he pulls this one off. Not in a dodgy way. I'm talking about wins and losses. And sure, yeah, if he does win a secondary title by the end of the year or in 2025, I'll be over the moon because my brain will just say to me, oh my gosh, he's living his dream. Because apparently my brain sounds like a cartoon. I just think it's an area that people forget about, because even if you're not a fan of his work, which by the way is totally cool, he does still remain over. And I'm going to be that guy again. That is the goal of this business. It doesn't matter how you do it as long as the crowds warm up to you. And even Cody Rhodes has chatted about this. He's like, there's no hard and fast rule. You just have to throw yourself out there, follow your gut instincts, and if all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I think these fans are into me, we'll ride that all the way to the bank. It's why getting mad at the whole yeet thing is just shouting into the universe, because it's no different from LA Knight's yeah. Dare I say it, it's not really that much different from Steve Austin's what. Now, of course, I don't want to go down that road and have it infect wrestling for the next 20 years, so let's just bring The Rock in here too. It's just like him going, if you smell what The Rock is cooking. It's just a fun thing for fans to say. And do you know why people go to these events? Because they want to have fun. It's Cyndi Lauper. It also makes for a very entertaining back and forth punch spot. I mean, you used to get yays and no's, but now you can get yeets and no yeets, which I'm also going to talk about in just 1 second. I'm going to drop those words again. Fun, entertainment, making you happy. It's the magical secret things we all forget when it comes to wrestling. And sure, it will have a shelf life like anything else, but don't pretend that Roman Reigns didn't understand what we were onto here. Again, he was the guy going, oh man, no yeet, no yeet. And he was doing that, so the fans did chant yeet. Really, if you want to blame anyone, go and blame your tribal chief. I even saw one thread that compared Jey Uso to Hacksaw Jim Duggan, because of course, back in the 90s, 80s, Hacksaw would come out with his 2x4, and he'd go, ho! And apparently, according to these guys, he would suck in the ring. Once again, I ain't having it. I just find that so insulting, because yeah, sure, Jim wasn't having like super strong style matches, but he knew his strengths and he knew his weaknesses, and he just played to the former. And every time he did that big wind-up punch, the crowds absolutely lost it. So I just think we have forgotten that wrestling is meant to be varied, and everybody is meant to bring something different to the table. So somebody brings chocolate cake, and somebody else needs to bring pizza. I think WWE knows this too, because look what he has done in 2024. He could have won the Royal Rumble, but he got screwed over by Jimmy Uso. He could have won the Intercontinental title, but he got screwed over by Jimbo Uso. When he got his world title shot against Damian Priest at Backlash 2, it was the Judgment Day that dicked him over. So now we do have somebody we can get behind and say, man, you've been dealt a bad hand and I am gonna support you until you win the big one, whatever that may be. And as we are talking about this pay-per-view premium live event too, go back and watch those French fans erupt for Jey Uso. There are wrestlers out there that would kill for this. Probably literally. I do get there is somewhat of a puzzle here, because he does need to go from the chasing babyface to the oh I have a champion babyface, but that's just going to be the same for everyone. The money is always in the chase, everybody has said that, so what do you do when he has a title over his shoulder? Given that WWE has always been more of a show when it does come to production though, just pick a championship, give it to him, and let's see what sticks. And look, I agree with you. I don't think the world title is the right thing right now, but if he became the Intercontinental Champion, I would do the dance of joy. It's like these same people who say that LA Knight can't wrestle. And once again, I want to make it very clear, you are allowed your opinion and I respect it, but when we do fall down these rabbit holes, I think some of us do need to go and take some actual bumps. It would change your whole perspective. I personally would love it if he did win a future King of the Ring tournament or became Mr. Money in the Bank, maybe even in 2024, because his success would make me happy, especially because then you're going to get more interviews where he is just talking as the real life Jey Uso, and we've already touched upon this, but he just comes across so well. It really does all go back to that storyline abusive relationship he had with Roman Reigns, where we were desperate for him to get out of that, and we just know eventually they are going to get back together because they have to take on the new bloodline. And when Roman Reigns actually does not confront him but sees him and finally apologizes so they can be a threesome again, because of course he'll get back with his brother too, I tell you, the reaction to that, it's going to justify all of this. WWE has even created even more sympathy for him, because even though he was a massive heel for a long time, he has been flubbed over on so many occasions that sympathy comes back into the frame again. And let's also not forget, Cody Rhodes forgave him for all his transgressions, and they actually went on to become the tag team champions. It was that short run as well which helped propel Jey Uso right up the card, because when you saw them together, they didn't feel like superstars. They felt like your buddies who were just absolutely on a roll. In 2024, I just think that authenticity and that transparency is so important. Go watch that press conference again where they are most definitely drunk. It's an absolute treat. It's not like we forgot this at WrestleMania 40 either, because on night 2, he did do that crazy spear to Jimmy off the entranceway, which also meant he was one of Cody's Avengers. We've talked about this in other videos. When you do have that kind of relationship with the top guy in the company, well, it's just gonna boost you up a little bit. Also, look on this too. While his relationship with Roman was built on fear, his relationship with Rhodes is all about mutual respect. That's nice. It was really smart too, because it means if Jey ever does win that briefcase, he won't cash in on Cody. He would never dare do that because it would be the wrong thing to do. But it is just yet more evidence that WWE could be thinking about this stuff. Maybe they go and prove me wrong by turning Jey Uso heel. But I tell you, I'll make a list about that instantly. It would be one of the all-time bad moves. You also have to remember that it is sports entertainment at the end of the day, so you do want to be doing what the fans want. And right now, they just want to cheer this guy. So let's not go backwards and let's not do anything stupid. Just listen to them and carry on down the path. At the end, you're probably going to find a nice shop that sells you love. What? But this is where I'm going to get a little bit controversial, so you will have to forgive me. But I think it is so damn important that we do this. Now, look, it is a little bit different, because if Jey did get that briefcase and Drew McIntyre was the champion, well, you have the storyline from the past you could tie into. But also, he could say, you know what, I do want to go after the US Championship, or I do want to go after the IC title, and that is just good for the evolution of this gimmick. I mean, it's been going on for 20 years, and as long as you can explain it well in the story why he isn't going for a tippity top world title, I think it benefits Jey, and it benefits the briefcase going forward, because if you just do the same thing over and over again, well, it's the law of diminishing returns. And isn't that the point of having a creative division? How do we do this? Just do anything you want. It's wrestling, there aren't that many rules. Furthermore, what is better for Jey himself? A world title match where he does lose, or becoming the Intercontinental Champion where he can climb those ropes, do that entrance thingamajig he does do while holding that belt across his head? I think we can all agree it's the latter. Ultimately too, as we've already mentioned, I do enjoy looking at the human side of wrestling, so even when I go back to WrestleMania 40, I am able to take some positives from it, because you just have to imagine Jey and Jimmy at the biggest event in all of pro wrestling probably made them feel warm and fuzzy in their tum-tums. That surely has to be one of their dreams. I like it when people achieve their dreams. So when we do move into 2025 and we can rekindle the relationship between Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso with some thought out narratives, that's just going to make him an even better good guy, especially because I think he will be the centerpiece to all of this, and he will forgive them before they go on to rid the world of the bloodline entirely. It also goes back to this whole idea of him being a good dude, and again, that counts so massively in this modern times that we are living in, especially when it comes to something like pro wrestling, because of course they're trying to sell you something and they're trying to work you, otherwise the whole thing would fall down the toilet. But when it comes to Jey, you can at least suspend your disbelief and decide, all right, so maybe the rest of us are trying to hoodwink me, but him, he's real. So I just hope this does go from strength to strength, because I totally love this guy. And again, if you don't agree with me and you think I'm talking out of my tuchus, you're allowed to think that too. But as far as I'm concerned, it's Jey Uso for the Intercontinental Championship 2025 after he cashes in his Money in the Bank. There's a story there, I tell you, and I'm giving it an up. Wrong show. Now I already know you're going to have loads to say about this, so please do leave me a comment below and just let me know. I can take it. I'd love to hear your opinions. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. And look, there is a video on the screen where I am talking about the Intercontinental title. Click it. Otherwise, thank you very much, my friends, and have terrific days. And I will see you on the next one.